friends, welcome back to This Homeschooling Naturopath. If you're new here, my name's Hannah and I am a homeschooling mom of 3 girls who are 11, 9, and 7, and I'm also a fully qualified naturopath living in New Zealand. On this channel, I like to share content related to homeschooling, homemaking, motherhood, as well as some naturopathic info throughout some of my content here. Today's video, I am sitting down to give you guys our full Term 2 update, how our curriculum has gone, what's worked, what hasn't, what have I changed since last term, and all of that. So if you're interested, keep watching. Alright, so we've just come to the end of our second term in our homeschool year. The way I like to schedule our homeschool is we have six-week terms, and we have just come to the end of the second 6 weeks. So If you caught our Term 1 update, our Term 1 review, which I'll have linked down below if you're interested in watching it, I'm going to really try hard not to be repetitive. We did have some new curriculum this term, so it won't be the exact same stuff that I talked about in the Term 1 update, but nonetheless, as far as like my girls' independent subjects go, as well as a lot of our family subjects, they are obviously the same. So I'm gonna just try and be brief with everything. Let's get straight into it, talking about our group subjects. So the vast majority of what we do in our homeschool revolves around group subjects, and this is our history, science, social studies, geography, Bible, poetry, what else? What have I got here? Bird study, artist study, a whole lot of things are encompassed in our group subject time. This year I have chosen a gather round unit for each term of our homeschool. So at the start of the year I had already chosen our 6 units that we were going to be doing for our 6 terms, and for Term 2 we studied earth science from gather round homeschool. Term 1 we studied space, and then we moved straight in to earth science for Term 2. Now with space, I raved about how great it was and how I felt super out of my depth teaching it, but then it turned out that it was actually great and that I felt really confident, and we had a really great time with that unit, and I was really hoping for the same outcome when it came to earth science. Again, this is a topic that I felt pretty out of my depth in teaching. There's a lot in this unit. I mean, earth science is so complex. I mean, as is space, but the way that Gather Round simplified it, just, I don't know, space didn't even feel like it was that complicated in comparison to earth science. What I will say is that this is not ranking super high on our best units that we've done. Space came in at number 2. Once we had completed it, this one unfortunately kind of missed the mark for us a little bit. We did do some really fun activities. We made an earth layer cake, which my girls all really enjoyed. We went on a couple of field trips in relation to earth science, and we did actually do some really fun hands-on like science experiments with this. Like learning how the tectonic plates move to create earthquakes, and all of that sort of thing. We did of course, talking about volcanoes, we did some volcano eruptions, which was fun. But aside from that, I don't know, what I will say too is that this unit was rushed for us, and I knew it would be. Each of our gather round units are allotted 6 weeks, except for this one. This one I knew it was going to have to be cut short because I planned on doing our Easter unit. However, I did anticipate to spend at least 5 weeks on this, but we had our homeschool science fair in week 5 of this term, and we really spent the entire week of week 5 focusing on our projects for the science fair, and so this really just got put to the side at that point. So we did only end up spending 4 weeks on this, which I just don't feel like it's enough time, which is you know, funny because that's how long Gather Round actually recommends you spend on each unit. For us, I don't know, we just really like to go really in depth and watch all the documentaries and do all the experiments and, you know, add all the extra bits and bobs. And I just felt like 4 weeks wasn't really enough time, you know, to fall in love with this unit. I don't know. What I also ended up doing, because I knew we were going to have to cut this unit short, I just actually went through and picked the lessons that I wanted us to get to. So we actually didn't even complete all 20 lessons. I literally just went through and ticked off which lessons I wanted to do and which lessons I wasn't too worried about. Definitely would not say at all that this is like a bad unit. Most definitely not. I love Gather Round and I love all of their units. This one, unfortunately, just given the season that we're in right at this moment, we were really busy this past term. We actually did enjoy what we did do from this unit, you know, talking about earthquakes and tsunamis and volcanoes and all of that, you know, the like natural disaster side of stuff. My girls really enjoyed speaking about all of that, and I think it really did give them a lot more knowledge than they had before. So that's the main thing. They definitely learned a lot from going over this unit. Something different I did choose to do when it came to our earth science was, instead of having my girls use the actual student books, I gave them each, what would you call these? It's not a notebook, it's a jumbo scrapbook. I gave them each, like, I don't know, these little notebooky things, and gave them the freedom to cut and paste anything they wanted from their student book into these books. And I did ask them for permission to film a little bit of what is in their books here to show you guys how these turned out. And this method of doing this was a real big success. We've never done this before. Oftentimes what ends up happening with our Gather Round units, if they don't have like a fun hands-on thing to do while I'm reading, they tend to drift off and you know, they're not very focused. So actually having them do this kept their hands very busy while I read through all of the information for each lesson that we did. You know, because they were busy deciding what they wanted to cut out, they were busy figuring out how they were going to put all the stuff on these pages here and what have you. It definitely kept their hands busy, which was good. And the plus side too is that we now have these beautiful books that they get to save. And I think actually we've already discussed that moving forward into next term for our next Gather Round unit, we're going to keep using these books because they all really liked this type of method, this like cut and paste, and you know, deciding what they do and don't do from their student books. They really enjoyed having the freedom there to pick and choose what they wanted and what they didn't. So that is, in a nutshell, how our Gather Round unit went for this term. Okay, and then like I said, the reason, part of the reason why we had to cut our earth science short was because Easter, of course, and is still, when this video goes live, is still right around the corner. I wanted to make sure that we got to the He is Risen unit in the last week of our homeschool before we go on our 1 week break. So currently, when I'm filming this, it's the Monday of the last week of our homeschool. So we only just started this unit today. We did 2 lessons from it today. There are 10 lessons, so we have to do two lessons a day. And we did the first 2 this morning, and they were fabulous. We decorated our eggs today. We had some incredible discussion on those first 2 lessons, and overall, like, yeah, I can't wait to finish this, and I can't wait for all the fun, rich experiences that we're going to be having this week thanks to this unit. And I am glad that I made the decision to put our earth science aside so that we can focus on this unit in the lead up to Easter. Some other group subjects that we do, which I don't really class as like group subjects, for me, I mean, they're kind of just I don't know, like enrichment things, stuff like that. We always work through sticky situations. This is our family devotion. We do this every morning during morning basket time. Again, that is our standard routine. We watch World Watch and then we do a family devotion. This is still going fabulous. We're still working through it, and we probably will for the rest of the year. We are still working through our artist study from Simply Charlotte Mason. We're still working through Van Gogh and his artwork. We've obviously been very busy on Fridays because we still have 4 paintings left. And 12 weeks into our homeschool, we should have been well and truly finished with Van Gogh by now. However, I'm definitely not in a rush to finish an artist study. You know, we can certainly take our time. I only have one more artist lined up for the year, so actually it would be fine. And well, it's gonna have to be now because we still have 4 left. So it's actually fine to do the first 3 terms focusing on one artist, and then we'll do the remainder of the year focusing on our next artist. So anyway, Van Gogh is continuing to deliver. We all love our artist study time. Van Gogh is fabulous. I really recommend these artist studies from Simply Charlotte Mason if it's something that you're remotely interested in. All right, we are continuing Enjoy the Poems, again from Simply Charlotte Mason. We're studying Robert Louis Stevenson, and again, I mean, this is okay. I read the poem on a Friday, which again, I haven't done now for a few weeks, but we are still working through this, and you know, we're making our way. And then the last sort of enrichment subject that I have here is our bird study. I pick a new native New Zealand bird every week, and then we will just talk about it. We'll learn about its life cycle, its breeding, what it eats, and all of that type of stuff. And we really, really enjoyed doing this little bird study. And then something else that has been fun in our homeschool the past 6 weeks is we have had monarch butterflies in our home. I'll put some overlay in here. They have all gone into their cocoons now, and so we're just waiting for them to to start emerging. They've been in their cocoons for probably at least a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks now. Raising monarch butterflies is something that we have done for probably about 5 years in a row now, and this is the first year that they have been so late to arrive. We call these swan plants, the plants that they that the female monarchs lay on. What are they called in the United States? I can never remember. I'm gonna say milkweed. I think it's milkweed. Yeah, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say milk thistle, but I know that's not right. We call these swan plants here. And every year in January, I'll buy new swan plants and put them out in the garden. And for the past literally 5 years, we've had eggs within like 24 hours of putting the plants outside. This year, we did not get any eggs at all. Our plants were outside for weeks and weeks and weeks, and we never got eggs. I ended up there's like a Facebook group for people who raise monarch caterpillars in our city, and so I ended up messaging someone and asking if I could come pick up some caterpillars from them. She had a lot, so she needed some taken off her hands. So yeah, I don't know what's up with the butterflies this year, but that's the first time we've ever experienced that, so it's quite strange. Anyways, having the monarchs in our house is always a really fun time, and we're all looking forward to when they start coming out of their cocoons. And I just have this random book for reference. I like to kind of decorate where the caterpillars live with some different books and some different hands-on things. So yeah, so I guess you can kind of class this as another group subject or part of nature study, if you will. And that pretty much rounds off our group subjects. I can't think of anything else. I mean, I probably am forgetting things, but that anyways is the bulk of what we're doing for group subjects. I feel like I've got a little bit of like pregnancy brain going on this afternoon. It's been a long day. Our time just changed here in New Zealand. It's our autumn time, so we fall back, and you would think that having an extra hour of sleep would be, you know, great, except when you have young kids and when you're someone with insomnia, yeah, it doesn't matter. The time change is just so confusing to everyone's brains. And it's been really inconvenient because I usually get up at 6:30 so that I can sit on the couch and get some work done and be by myself before all my kids wake up. But all my kids have now been waking up at 6:30 because in their minds it's 7:30. So obviously I need to start getting up at 5:30. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little bit tired this afternoon. I'm gonna start with my oldest daughter's independent subjects and work my way down through my girls. So first off, my oldest daughter, she is 11. She'll be 12 toward the end of this school year. Now what she is doing for language arts is the Good and the Beautiful language arts, the level 6. So level 6, not 5. And this, again, this is going great. She, like I said in my term 1 update, she already is very familiar with the Good and the Beautiful language arts. She knows the ins and outs of it. She can get this done very quickly. I will say she is getting a little bit bored with the amount of reading involved. In my term 1 update, I know I talked about how the writing component was a little bit much, but now it's just the reading. She's not really there for it, but I mean, look, she's getting this done nonetheless, and we're obviously going to be continuing it. For math, she is doing the Good and the Beautiful Math 5. This is her favorite subject. If you were to ask her, she would tell you that the Good and the Beautiful Math specifically is her favorite subject. So this is going really great. She thrives in math, and we're gonna be continuing it. I bet you could have guessed. As far as her electives go, she started off the year doing the Story of the USA, which is just pretty basic American history stuff, reading the text and then answering the questions. I think she's probably only done this twice in the past 6 weeks. And it has complained both times. So I have told her that she can put this aside, and instead we've replaced it with these 2 books here. I got both of these at a book sale recently. I picked her up this Great Speeches book, which I have told her in place of the US history, she can just choose one of the speeches in here and read the whole thing and then come and tell me about it. So she's been really enjoying that. I've also been having her actually listen to this speech on YouTube, which again, she's actually really enjoyed this. She's found it quite interesting. What I also have for her is the American Revolution for Kids, which again is just reading the text and then answering some questions or coming to tell me about what she has read. So she's just been working through that. She only does this on a Friday, so it's not too strenuous. Another one of her electives is the Child's Guide to Sustainable Nutrition and Getting Back to Our Roots from Forest, Rain, and Wonder. And she, again, has been really enjoying this. She is really interested in food and nutrition. She only does this on a Friday. She's continuing to work through it, and yeah, it's going great. For her science project, for our science fair just been last week, she actually chose to do a fermentation station, which was totally based on a lesson that she learned about in this unit here. So that was really cool. And her fermentation station was a huge hit. It was really cool to see you know, her knowledge kind of shine with that. She got really into it, had a lot of different fermented foods out. She made sourdough crackers to take along. I made a loaf of sourdough bread to share. We had kombucha and sauerkraut and cheese and all sorts of things, and she really enjoyed you know, teaching people about fermented food. I mean, the coolest thing about it was that it really was inspired from the lesson that she learned in this unit. So she is also doing Your Business Math from Simply Charlotte Mason. This is the bookstore math series. She only does this on a Friday, and I did mention in my term 1 update that she wasn't the most excited about this anymore, and I mean that lack of excitement has definitely continued. She's not really keen to do this when I tell her to get it out anymore. It is definitely just a repetitive nature of it. Every month is pretty much the exact same thing, but I think the lesson to be learned here is that is what happens when you become an adult. You actually pay the same bills every month. You actually have to go you know, to the store every week, and you know, for the most part you're buying the same food and you're shopping at the same places, and there is a lot of repetition that comes in adulthood. I've kind of been trying to explain to her through this unit. Anyway, we are going to be continuing it because it's something that I want her to complete. Yeah, she just isn't the most excited about it at the moment, but you know, can't be excited about everything. Okay, and also what she continues to do twice a week is typing. She just goes on, usually typing.com is her favorite go-to. There's like a few free typing lessons as well as typing games, and so she just will spend about 20 minutes twice a week doing some typing and practicing her skills with that. And her last elective this term, she did a Shakespeare course, which is a fully online course with other children and a live teacher, and this is through the Parkinson online classes, I think, or courses. Parkinson online classes, it must be. And this has been fabulous. I believe it was it's either 8 or 9 week course that she has been doing. She's got her last class tomorrow, and she has loved this course. Like, I can't even recommend it enough. If you live in New Zealand and you have a child who is maybe a little bit of an overachiever in some areas, I really recommend doing some Parkinson online classes. The teacher, Erin, is fabulous. And honestly, yeah, my daughter has thrived in this Shakespeare class. She's really enjoyed it, and it is in-depth stuff. So it's just been really beautiful to see her thrive in that area and see all of her knowledge really come to life with this Shakespeare course. It's been really great. And we're already looking at the courses for next term. I think we are going to go ahead and enroll her in another block of classes with Erin because it's really been fabulous, and she has some really exciting ones coming down the pipeline for next term. So yeah, that's been really good. If you're in New Zealand, I highly recommend the classes from Parkinson Online Classes. All right, moving on now to my middle daughter. My middle daughter is currently 9 years old, but she will be 10 in, oh my goodness, like 8 weeks. So yeah, she'll be 10 soon. Oh my goodness. For language arts, we started off the year using the master books level 5. However, I did speak about in my term 1 update how this wasn't really my favorite, and we did, after my term 1 update, we did decide to put this aside, and I have since switched her over to, wait for it, the Learning Language Arts through Literature. And we have now been working on this for the entirety of the past 6 weeks. We started it when we came back for this second term, and you guys, this has been going so well. Like, truly, in comparison to the master books, I've got to be honest, this has been so much better for her, and I'm incredibly pleased that we decided to make the switch. We're currently reading The Boxcar Children while she's currently reading it to me, and what I really like the most about this is the variety that it includes. Like, every lesson, you know, while there are some similarities, every lesson really is different, and what I really love is the incorporation of the book studies. So for the past, I think 3 weeks at this point, we have just been working on a book study. So I've printed her out some different worksheets and some different activities and different things that we can do together for this book study for the Boxcar Children. This is a huge thumbs up, and I do know that there was a couple mamas in the comments who did recommend this, and so thank you guys so much. I really appreciated your recommendation, and here we are, and it's going really well. Also, for language arts, she is working on editor-in-chief. This is the beginning one, but actually what Learning Language Arts through Literature has in it is sentence editing. We haven't actually done the sentence editing in here just because she is doing it in editor-in-chief, but had I known we were going to be doing that language arts program, I probably wouldn't have purchased this. Although she does really enjoy this, she really has gotten the hang of it now. And we are continuing this instead of doing the sentence editing in her language arts program. We just do it over here every day, and you know, it works well. Something else I continue to have her do specifically on a Friday for her enrichment time is story writing. This is just a plain writing book, and so on a Friday for her personal enrichment time, she will sit down and write me a piece of creative writing, and she's been getting really involved with this lately. She will write it all down on her paper and then type it into the computer, and she's been really enjoying that. We've been printing them out and making cute little booklets with her writing and stuff like that, and she's been finding illustrations, and yeah, I really like incorporating this element of creative writing into her language arts program as well. Also, for her enrichment on a Friday, she is working through, I feel like I need to keep it on this side. She is working through Mindbenders, the level 3. We only do this on a Friday. She only does about 1 to 2 puzzles, and yeah, it's going good. That logical thinking element is always helpful. All right, and then her final enrichment subject, I always forget to do math. I'm looking down at my piece of paper, and I did the same thing in my last term update. I forgot to talk about math. I'll get there. For her final enrichment subject, she has finally completed Growing Up with God. This is a level 1, the girls' version of it, obviously, and we've really enjoyed this. Level 1 was perfect for her age range, and we just, I mean, had some beautiful, really healthy, productive conversation from this unit, and yeah, I'm happy to be finished now, as is she. For math, she is doing Teaching Textbooks Math 5. This has been going well. We have kind of hit a couple of bumps in the road with it. The main problem we're both having with it at the moment is just the amount of questions in every lesson. It's a lot for her. When she was doing the Good and the Beautiful math, there could be like 50 questions on a page in any given lesson. However, I would just tell her like, okay, that's fine, you know, only do 2 of these, only do 2 of those, and you know, choose which one of these you want to do for the math review. Whereas with the teaching textbooks, you can't do that because it won't give you a mark for that lesson. So I'm pretty sure every lesson has at least 20 questions there. So she'll do the lesson and then it'll have, it's either 20 or 22, 21 maybe, I don't know, it's around there. It has all those review questions that she just continuously has to do every single time she opens it up. And I know it's getting quite repetitive, and you know, I can't tell her, oh, you know, just choose 2 of those, just choose 1 of those, just pick which one of these you want to do, because it won't give her a grade. That's been a little bit of a negative this past term. I'm definitely not planning on switching her to anything else at the moment. If I were to switch her to anything else, it would be back to the Good and the Beautiful math, and she would probably be moved on to the level 4. She completed the level 3 last year. Yeah, if teaching textbooks progresses, you know, to be a stressful thing, then I will look at changing her back to the Good and the Beautiful math. But you know, we'll see how that goes. And then finally, she also does typing twice a week, just like my older daughter does. She will play the typing games and practice just writing simple stories and stuff like that. And she really enjoys practicing her typing and progressing with that. So that is her independent subjects. And finally, moving on to my youngest daughter. My youngest daughter is 7 years old. She'll be 8 later on in the year. She has probably the most curriculum out of all my daughters, I think, based on looking at all of this. So for reading, she is continuing to work through All About Reading. We had sort of put this aside in term 1, but I chose to pick it back up and see where she was at in this past term for term 2, and she has been doing really, really well. The only thing is she still doesn't like the books. Like, that's the main problem that we're having. Yeah, I also don't want her to have any type of negative associations with reading, so I'm very mindful of that. I don't want to like push her and force her and make it a problem, you know, for her to read me a story. Like, that's definitely not what I'm trying to do. So we have been moving through this slowly, and I have kind of just been letting her skip the readers for the most part, and we're just doing the lessons together. But for the readers, she has been doing the readers from the Good and the Beautiful. These are the Booster A books. We've been working through those. She's read all of these now, so it's funny because like she's so capable. She's such a capable reader now, but yeah, I don't know if she can see it herself yet, or if she feels it herself yet. And then what we've also been doing is getting books out from the library for her to read as well. And I mean, she flies through them, so I don't know. I don't know what the problem is with the All About Reading readers. Anyway, so that's her reading portion there. I also have her doing this book here from School Zone. This is Big First Grade, and all we're doing for this is the language arts sort of portions of it. We're doing reading comprehension, rhyming, there's like crosswords and word searches, and just little like basic fun righty language artsy things that we can do together. We do this about 2 or 3 times a week, and yeah, it's just a fun, colorful book that we can incorporate to help her with her reading and her writing and comprehension. She has finally moved on to the Good and the Beautiful handwriting level 2. We had a cute little ceremony for her when she finished her level 1 and got her certificate. She was pretty chuffed with herself, so she's been excited to move on to this. We're not very far into it at the moment, but yeah, this is going good, and she'll be continuing with that. I also really like to incorporate a creative writing element for her as well, and so again, just like my middle daughter, this is just a simple notebook, except she has a big space to draw a picture of what she has written about or will write about, and she's been enjoying this. We only do this on a Friday, and this has been going well, but I wanted to really encourage her in her story writing a bit more, and I was thinking about it quite a lot. And what I remembered I had tucked away in my garage was the Jot It Down program from Brave Writer. We did this as a family, gosh, in our first year of homeschool, and we're now in our 4th year, so I don't know, however many years ago that was. We did this all together, and all of my girls loved it. My youngest daughter was only 4 when we did this, so she actually doesn't even remember ever doing this except for what she has seen in pictures. So I really wanted to get this back out and see how we went with it. We've now been doing this for 3 weeks and she has been loving it. We sat down to write her second story today, which was Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and she loves it. We're only doing the fairy tale project at the moment, and in fact that's the only thing we really did when we did this the first time around, was the fairy tale project that's in here. And what I'm really hoping for is that by the end of the fairy tale project, I'm really hoping that she is a lot more confident when it comes to writing her own stories in her own words. So yeah, that's my main goal with this, is just building up her confidence and showing her, like, look, you actually can write stories. This has been going really well. Her and I have been having a lot of fun together. Actually, I'll show you guys too. When we did it the first time around, I printed out all of these resources. And this has been a lot of fun going through these again. She loves it. She'll sit there and play with them the whole time we talk about the story and read the story, and we've been learning the history of the fairy tale we're learning about and watching videos and shows about all the different versions of the story and stuff like that. For math, she is doing the Good and the Beautiful Math 1. This is still a really big hit. She's flourishing in her math. She's just really taking so much on board and flying through this right now, which is really cool to see. So that's a big thumbs up. We're continuing with that. And then finally for her, on a Friday, she also does logic. This is the Mindbenders level 2. We do about 2 puzzles of this a week on a Friday only. And yeah, that has been going good, and we're going to be continuing with it. Alright friends, and that wraps up my term 2 update as far as all of our curriculum goes. If you have any questions or comments, I'd love it if you pop them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching today. I really appreciate you and your view, and I appreciate you coming to hang out with me today and spending your precious time over here on my channel. I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!